Let's see if I can do this. Hi, now we're recording. Hopefully that's okay with everybody. For those of you that I don't know, I think I know many of you. My name is Phyllis Tierman. I'm one of the members of the Sustainable Wellesley Leadership Team. And you have Quentin Prideaux, and I don't know, Quentin, you want to unmute and wave so people know who you are? It's not working.
Okay, now I can wave with the sound on.
Oh, there you go. Mary Gard, you can do the same. Give everybody a wave. If you unmute yourself, we can see your beautiful face.
Hello.
So there's Mary. We have Trish Glass.
Hello.
I didn't see you, but you're there. You'll see her in a minute. And then we have, who else? Scott's not here, and Regina is not here this evening yet. Or actually, Regina has another meeting, so she won't be there. But welcome to Faces that wish we could all be live together, but this is the next best thing. This is our second Zoom action meeting, and we're so glad you're here. And for those of you that first time, welcome. If you've been to our meetings before, you may know some of the exciting news I'm going to start off with. Our last live action meeting, which I think it was like in January, we spent the whole time talking about a citizen's petition that some folks were bringing to town meeting around the voluntary renewable energy program. Well, I have exciting news to share. If you don't know yet, that was a huge victory last week at town meeting. It passed 158 votes to 48 against. This vote expresses that our community's desire for the Wellesley Municipal Light Plant to enroll all town electricity customers in the program by adding a fee of 7% to the electric portion of the utility bills, with the understanding that any customer may opt out of the program, thereby avoiding the monthly fee. This article complements, as many of you know, the current and planned measures by the Light Plant, the Sustainable Energy Committee, upcoming things from the Board of Selectmen, as well as what was in the Town Unified Plan. The passing of this article will have a real impact on reducing greenhouse gas emissions while keeping Wellesley electricity costs 30% lower than the Massachusetts average. The article will allow our light plant to fund voluntary renewable energy measures to be selected by the light plant for the impact on greenhouse gas emissions. Potential projects include purchase of additional renewable energy, electricity, installation of community solar generation facilities, battery storage capacity, and electric vehicle charging stations, and other related initiatives. So I'm bringing this up because these action meetings make things happen. We got together, we talked about it with people who had different opinions, and for all of you that worked on it, we want to say thank you. And if we were together, I would celebrate. I don't even have a drink. So toast to everybody. Thank you for all your hard work. And so that was the old news, and we need to keep moving forward. So to keep moving forward, we ran a survey last week or 2 weeks ago to see what folks matter to folks. And what we decided tonight is that this action meeting would be talking about things that were on people's lists of what mattered to them. So one of the top survey results was recycling and renewing and reusing. And on that note, I would like to introduce the superintendent of the RDF, Jamie, who's going to give you a little insight on what it means to be recycling in the times of COVID and how it still makes financial sense for our community. So Jamie, I'll let you take over.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Phyllis. And thank everybody for the opportunity and the platform to say a few words and get some information out there. I think first and foremost, there might be some housekeeping items here, some upcoming dates that if people want to jot these down, some changes that are going to be around the facility. The bookshelf is going to be opening up tomorrow, limiting that area to 6 people. So we'll see how that works out. That'll kind of be an experiment in human behavior. The next date is going to be Saturday, July 4th. The facility will be closed on a Saturday, so that's a big one. But we will be open normal hours Friday before and the Monday after. The next big date will be Sunday, July 12th, which will be the first Sunday that we will be open. And we're going to be open 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Sunday, July 12th, and subsequent Sundays thereafter, 10 to 3. Another kind of special time we're going to be open is Wednesdays in July, starting I want to say maybe the 15th. That's going to be paint collection from 3 to 6. Paint has been we've been fielding a lot of calls about people wanting to get rid of paint. And we're going to do that in the evening to try to capture as many people as we can. So from 3 to 6, starting Wednesday, July 15th, I believe, and then the subsequent 2 Wednesdays from there. So those are some upcoming dates from the facility that may be of interest to people. Now to speak a little bit to the markets during COVID, and even before COVID, to the situation in China where they stopped accepting the United States' material. One of the hardest sort of bit of information that it's hard to get across to people is that that doesn't affect Wellesley. Wellesley's material is so clean that we've been selling it to all over the world, since day one, or since we've got the baler. The paper fiber markets, the metal markets, the plastic markets, they've been kind of steady and consistent low. But one stream that we have, one program that we have, which is by far our most successful program, is the cardboard program. It's the most volatile program. The prices fluctuate the most, and I think that's a direct relation to consumption. I think cardboard and consumption have they're very closely tied. So as consumption goes up, the price will go up. As consumption comes down, the price will come down. And when COVID hit, consumption went up, and the prices for cardboard went up significantly. I just have some raw data here. I don't want to get too technical, but this might be of interest to some people. We sold a load back in December of 2019 for $37 a ton, and we sold a load 5 months later on 5/11 for $175 a ton. So that's a 466% increase. So when you're talking markets, that's a big swing, and we've really been working hard even before this had happened to kind of clean up our program and to try to increase the volume of clean cardboard, that is going through the facility. So when people say that China's not taking stuff, that may be true for other communities, but for us, not only are they taking it, but they're taking it at an incredible price. And the other metrics that I take a look at, which I think is important when we always kind of talk about the cleanliness of our product. There's basically 2 metrics that I look at, and one is rejected loads, and 2 is how high above the market high are we selling our material. So every material has a range of what it's worth, and cardboard, when we sold that load for $175 a ton, the market high was $120 a ton. So that was 45% over the market high. So that kind of shows you how clean our stuff is and how much people want it. It's seeked out by buyers all over the world, and they're paying 45% higher than market value. We sold a load back in April for 130% higher than their market high. So I mean, that's those are incredibly strong numbers, to kind of gauge how we're doing. Are we spending enough time cleaning this up? Do we need to clean it up more or less, and stuff like that? So, I mean, I think just the main message that I think is important to get out there is, the entire world is looking for, our recyclable material. It's clean. Buyers are stopping in. We have buyers from Georgia. We have buyers from California that come to the facility and literally put eyes on the material. They touch it. They look at it, and then they'll buy tons and tons of this stuff. So it's not garbage. It's not going to landfills. It's we're continually trying to keep it clean, and it's bringing money into the town as we sell this. So that's kind of sort of the markets, and stuff. Like I said, the cardboard market is the most volatile. It's our largest program. The paper fiber markets, the metal markets, and plastics, they move slower, but we're consistently high quality with that stuff as well. The glass market, was flipped on its head over the last year, going from a revenue to a cost, and so now it's just the game of trying to lessen the cost, and we've done a very good job at that as well. So that's kind of sort of touching on the on the markets during COVID and stuff like that. It's supply and demand. We have the supply and the demand is high, so the more stuff that can come to the facility for recycling, the better. We'll clean it up, we'll bale it, and we'll sell it. We have the infrastructure. So that's kind of the the markets with the recycling and how we're doing with that. The other thing that I kind of wanted to touch on, which I'm sure most people are interested in, is the the reusable area, and kind of what what's the kind of thought process, or where we are with that, opening that up. And that's been a lot of conversations with with the staff, and with the leadership teams, and also other towns, to see what they're doing and what their thoughts are. And we've had some pretty good discussions about it obviously can't be business as usual. Is there a different way to do it? It can be set up differently, so it's safe for everybody to do drop off and pick up, and stuff like that. So we've kind of explored different avenues of online communities. If you have items that you have that you want to donate and stuff like that, and also speaking with organizations of donation organizations, but that's just kind of in the talk stages. The one thing that we kind of need to safely and comfortably open that area is volunteers. We had a very large pool of volunteers, and understandably, some of those volunteers don't want to volunteer in these times. So our volunteer numbers are a little lower, not as low as other communities, but we'd love to get bump those numbers up, so we'd have more options of more hands. So if anybody knows of anybody that wants to volunteer, feel free to get in contact with us.
Jamie, you mentioned they have to be 18 years old, right?
They do have to be 18 years old to volunteer. That's correct. Yep. But we're always looking for volunteers. Many hands make light work. So it's anytime, email us or give us a call. And that's pretty much the kind of my message. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to email or give a call. My direct email is my first initial last name @wellesleyma.gov. You can also just go onto the website in the RDF section, hit the email, and that will go to the DPW and find its way to me or the appropriate department.
Jamie, we have like 4 more minutes, and I have 2 questions I see here.
Sure.
Can I throw them at you?
Absolutely.
One is, what's the status of the market for computers and electronics?
How we move those is it's a cost item to us. We work with the NRRA, which is the Northeast Regional Recycling Association, something like that. we go through them because the buyers and vendors are always sort of changing, and it's easier just to say we have, you know, 1.5 tons of computers or screens, and to give it to them, and they'll kind of dispose of it the most appropriate way. So that's kind of how we handle the electronics.
Okay, and the second question was, is there any hope for glass recycling to come back to Massachusetts?
You know, the glass program has been very interesting. It has been moving incredibly fast. So it went from, you know, being, you know, glass used to be sought after, and now it's sort of, there's an abundance of it. And there's two kind of new, you know, avenues for glass. One is a glass aggregate, where they will crush it down, and they would use it on construction sites to replace like crushed stone. And then, you know, another avenue is they would mix it in with asphalt, and they would use it to pave roads and sidewalks and parking lots. But the specs, the Massachusetts specs for those materials, that's kind of the hang up in Massachusetts. Dennis, Mass has they just opened a glass crushing facility, you know, to try to get ahead of that. And they're working with the, you know, with the Mass DEP to kind of loosen or change those specs so they can, so that material can be used in more construction aspects. The glass that we send our glass to be made into fiberglass insulation. So our glass gets sent up to Canada, and it gets crushed down to a very fine powder. And then that powder gets sent to Albany, New York, to Owens Corning, and it gets turned into fiberglass insulation. So, and there's, you know, that industry is growing and expanding because there's an abundance of glass, and you know, and it can be used in different avenues.
Okay, I see one more question, and then it says, I read today that the returnable refunds have been resumed after a moratorium due to COVID. Can Wellesley refund its glass and aluminum cans?
Yes, we've, you know, when we've been stockpiling our refundables for a few months, and we had probably about 600 yards of cans around the place. I'm you know, I'm kind of glad nobody noticed. I'm kind of glad that we were able to get rid of them before the little creatures moved in. You know, but yeah, we stockpiled that stuff, and for the last, I would say, 4 weeks, we've been unloading it as fast as our outlet will accept cans. You know, we actually drove him a tractor trailer truck full of aluminum cans and filled his warehouse. So we are, you know, we didn't lose out on any of those deposits. You know, we stockpiled them, and we're able to offload them when the facilities open back up.
And that was glass as well?
That was aluminum and plastic refundables. The problem with glass refundables is the people taking them. There's very few vendors that take glass refundables, and they come and go so quickly. So as soon as you find a vendor that will accept them, they'll either shut down or move out, and then it's tough to find another vendor. So, you know, we're always kind of looking at, you know, the glass refundables. We did get the new sheds in hopes that the glass refundable program will, you know, will start back up, because there are some vendors out there that will take glass refundables.
Okay. Well, I know that there's probably, we could have a whole night of Ask Jamie questions, but I'm going to have to move on. So thank you so much for your time, for what you do. I mean, for some folks who don't know, that the money that all our recycling goes into, like the general fund, which funds a lot of things, including our schools. So keep recycling.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamie, if you don't mind typing, I can't see it right now, maybe type in your email address into the chat, and then people have access. But worst case scenario, you can just go to the website.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, if
Do that. All right.
let's, how do I get to the chat here?
I think if you move your cursor along the bottom, it should
Okay.
pop up, and then there's like.
I think I got it here.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right, thank you so much, Amy and Dave. Thank
Sure.
you for joining. We appreciate it. So reach out to Jamie if you have other questions. Next, I'd like to introduce Bella. Bella is a rising senior at Connecticut College. She's been our intern for the summer, and she has a few minutes on the agenda because she has a really strong passion about plant-based eating that we can all either dabble in or just dive deep in. So I'll let Bella take it over. And I will share the screen, right? Bella, you need me to do that?
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay. See more. Do I have to make you a co-host?
Let me see.
Sorry, peeps. I should be better.
I think it's because it's right shared on Google Drive, I believe.
Lisa, can you do it? Do you know how to do that? Share.
Yeah, so you want me to make Bella a co-host?
I just need to share her screen. Oh, no, I can do it. I see. Okay.
No, see the
Oh, no,
share?
that's not me. That's okay. I have to have her do it.
Yeah, she has to be able to do it. Let me just make her a co-host.
Okay. I think I just did it.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Oh, perfect.
And then you see it on the bottom. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Bella is in New Hampshire. She is not on the ocean, although it looks like she is.
I'm close.
It's true.
All right, let me see. Okay, is that working?
Got it. See it. Thank you.
All right. So, hi guys. My name is Isabella Lafredo. Like Phyllis said, I'm going to be a senior at Connecticut College with a major in biology, and I have the awesome opportunity to be interning with Sustainable Wellesley this summer. I'm here tonight to talk about our new sustainable eating Facebook page called Eat Wellesley. And this group is found right off of Sustainable Wellesley's Facebook, and I can also link it in the chat later. I want to start off by saying, and I'll probably mention it multiple times, but this page is absolutely and entirely for everyone. I don't want the plant-based title or the sustainable eating title to kind of steer people away or make people feel like they can't join the group if they don't necessarily adhere to the lifestyle. Whether you're looking to go fully plant-based, have been plant-based for many years, or just looking to add a few new tips and recipes to your repertoire, I think this Facebook will be a great place for the community to go to. So I wanted to start off by talking about what plant-based eating is, because I know before I researched anything, I was super confused about the differences between vegetarianism, veganism, and plant-based.
So can I stop you for 1 sec? If you put your slides on present, some of us that are old can see better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that
Sorry to
working?
interrupt. Oh, perfect. Much better. Wait, go back
Go back.
to present. Can you do that and still do your?
Let me see.
If not, it's fine.
No, I think it should work. Let
Or
me
full
just make
screen or
sure.
something.
Is that working now?
That's great. Yeah, perfect
Okay.
for us. Thank you.
So I liked this quote because I think that it kind of captured the two biggest things, like while defining plant-based and how it's mainly geared around obviously plant-derived foods, fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, etc. But it makes the clear distinction that it does not mean you're vegetarian or vegan. And I think that's important because you're limiting the amount of animal products you're eating, but you're not totally cutting them out, which I think takes away some of the intimidation factor from when people are like, go vegan, go vegetarian, that kind of thing. So again, it's very limited animal products, but they're still there, and that makes it different from being a vegan or vegetarian. And so now I want to talk about obviously why I started this Facebook page and why I think the plant-based lifestyle is important. And that is mainly due to the diverse benefits that it offers. And so starting off with the obvious one being the impact on animal welfare. In 2013 alone, more than 80 billion animals were raised for solely the production of meat and animal products. And so with this high demand for meat and dairy, obviously the high demand for animals increased. And with this increasing animal number, it really took a toll on the environment in various ways, bringing me to the next bullet of sustainability and why it's through Sustainable Wellesley. There are so many impacts that not only housing the animals, but also feeding them and giving them water truly is detrimental to the environment, just because there's such a high increase for land, water, and natural resources. And across the world, land for animals to house them and to feed them is our largest use of land than anything. So because there's such a high demand for land, this brings the demand and presence of deforestation much higher, as well as these farms are about 15% of the human-caused greenhouse gas emissions. So all in all, these farms, this space for animals, have multiple effects on the environment. And again, like we were saying at the beginning, whether it's dabbling or going full plant-based, anything from switching a plant-based meal in for an animal product can help chip away at the impact that it has on the environment. It can slow down deforestation, decrease pollution, and it would lower the water and land use. Aside from these two benefits, it also is a great lifestyle for physical and emotional well-being. Things such as lowering blood pressure, improving heart health, etc., are just a handful of benefits. And also, I wanted to address how important and relevant it is within this pandemic. I think at the beginning, when we were under the stay-at-home order, it was very obvious that you can live a little bit longer out of your pantry with a plant-based diet rather than a meat and dairy. But also, there's an article, and I'm not going to go too far into it. It is linked on our Facebook page, just about how this pandemic truly showed us when you pack a bunch of living and breathing organisms in a small space, the introduction of just one single virus can spread absolutely rapidly. And this is relevant for not only animals living there, but also for the people that go to work in these small conditions. So again, I won't go too far into it, but I think that plant-based is so relevant, especially today. And so what to expect from the Facebook page. It truly is a community page. I want everyone to be welcome and encouraged to join, and everyone and welcome to encourage to post recipes, post creations, general cooking tips, relevant news and articles that you saw and found interesting. I'm sure other people in the community would love to see them. I'd love to see them. As far as what we'll be posting, it's kind of all of the above, relevant news and articles, different information about benefits. And it's also super open that if anyone has a suggestion or a submission on something they want to see, I would love to take a stab at answering it. We have a lot of people behind the scenes on the Facebook page, more qualified than I am to probably answer the questions. But it's really just an opportunity to share and ask things that you've been wondering and want to get the community's feedback for. Again, it is absolutely for everyone. And so overall, the goal is just to show easy and manageable recipes that follow certain diets to gently encourage more people to adopt this lifestyle, because I truly believe that it's beneficial to just about everything, our individual health, community health, and climate health. So I just want to educate people on the importance of plant-based eating and give them maybe a little nudge to start doing so. So thank you and enjoy.
Thank you, Bella. That was great. I'm kind of hungry now, actually. And point out that she does this now she's home because it's summer and COVID, but this can happen from a dorm room too. So if you have family members at home that are going to be living on their own again, and it's for everybody. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let me unshare.
I don't know how to share.
Unshare that. I don't know. So our next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull everybody out into 2 breakout groups. So if you wouldn't mind opening up the chat by just moving your cursor over the bottom of the screen, and in the chat, if you could tell us, so 2 of the other main topics people spoke about in our survey were climate justice in Massachusetts, and then another big topic was sustainable landscaping. So I think because those are pretty actionable, we're going to break out into 2 breakout groups, meaning we're physically going to, not physically, we're on the screen are going to go into 2 different rooms to have 2 different discussions. So if you don't mind starting to put in your chat which breakout room you'd like to join, I will try to, maybe Lisa can help me facilitate who's going where. Trish is going to facilitate the landscaping one, and Mary is going to facilitate the climate justice. So I think I have to write these down. So this is like your 7th inning stretch, so take a second to stretch for a second while I figured out how to do this. Okay. Lisa, if I move to the breakout groups, will I lose the chat, you think? Because of
No, you should be able to move.
to do both?
Yeah, you should be able to move people and not lose the chat.
Okay. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. Oh, you're doing it for me. Oh my God, you're a miracle worker. Okay, I'll just let you do it then. Are you doing it all, Lisa?
No,
Oh,
no,
you're not. This is from before. Okay. So let me,
I'm not doing anything.
okay, these are the
I'm
breakout
happy to
groups from
talk to you,
before.
but
Okay.
let's bring it on you.
Okay. Okay, so this will be landscaping. This is okay. So Lisa, I have you and Quentin in climate justice just because you were already in that thing. Okay, I'm gonna go through. So Isabella, I'm gonna put you in. Oh shoot! Now how do I do this? How do I get everybody in here? Lisa, can you see with the breakout groups what I'm doing?
No.
Okay. All right, maybe I need to start over. Sorry, everybody.
You should be able to just start putting people in and not have to do everybody all at once.
No, I don't even see their names, to be 100% honest.
Hmm.
This is why I told Wellesley Media not to come and record this. I was worried this was going to happen. Yeah, I don't know how to add these people. Okay. Options. I wonder if I did it, since I did it before, it won't let me add anybody else, Lisa.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, you know what? Don't worry. So what we'll do is we'll give Trish, you're going to go first, and I'll just let everyone hear your stuff, and then we'll move on to Mary after, so we all, and I'll work on this breakout group situation next time. I'm sorry. So Trish, I will hand it over to you, and I will be your timer, and I'll tell you when we need to move on. Thank you. Sorry.
Sounds good. Well, you know, I planned for it to be more conversational, so I'll just say that I would love to hear from all of you who are interested, because I would like to sort of form, maybe have another outside discussion where we can talk about the things that are most pressing or most interesting, and then, you know, hopefully some of you can take leadership roles on some of these issues. The key, something that we're working on right now that you've probably seen posted on the site, is we are starting a discussion about leaf blowers in town and about gas-powered leaf blowers. And we have planned, we're working with an organization called Quiet Communities, and they are helping us plan a panel of health experts and climate experts. And so that is July 28th from 1 to 2, and it'll be open to 100 participants, but we're opening it to a very broad audience. We're going to include landscapers and people from other towns. We're really, hoping that Wellesley is going to take a leadership role. So we want to invite other town, Department of Health members, et cetera, to participate. The event is going to be sponsored by Sustainable Wellesley, but also co-sponsored by the SEC and the Wellesley Natural Resources Commission. We're going to draw a broad audience. So that's something to look forward to. And if you have questions about, more specifics, please reach out, and I'm happy to share more information or would love to have you involved in planning. We'll be posting more about that on the site, so look for that. And we'll also do a broad mailing. Some of the other sustainable landscaping issues, something that I think has always been sort of important and pressing personally to me as I walk around neighborhoods and consider pesticides, water use, plants that people are choosing in their landscapes that may not be friendly to indigenous insects, and bees in particular are of great concern now. So how do we choose plants for landscapes? Also maintaining trees, and then when trees have, lived their lives, replacing them. So that's, part of all of our personal landscape management. So I think, I would love to find people interested in these issues, and as I said, find people who are willing to sort of do some research, and maybe we can host, in addition to something like this leaf blower panel, to get the discussion going, to really kickstart some work on issues that I think are sort of really within reach in our community. Certainly, I've tried in my neighborhood to reach out about pesticide use in my neighborhood, just sort of urging people to talk to their landscaping companies and see if there are alternative products that could be used, or, in part really urging citizens in general to talk to their landscaping companies. Can be sort of an abstract entity, I think, in our lives, and ask and find out what is being used. And that's true of the gas-powered, mechanisms that are used as well. And then ask, are there alternatives with this landscaping company? Would you consider not using gas-powered leaf blowers, or what are some of the options open to me? A lot of people talk about what are the green landscaping companies. I would really like to see a discussion that engages the landscapers in the conversation, so that they can sort of understand what the audience is looking for, and consider, instead of doing the same old thing, consider some of these issues that are, of growing importance within the climate change discussion. So if people have questions, or would be happy to answer them now, or if there are people interested, please.
I think, Trish, what I might do is I can see we're saving the chat, so we can make a group of just an email of all the folks that are just interested in landscaping, and maybe you guys can take it offline, because I'm sure maybe people don't want to like talk here, but they are like, oh my God, my neighbor's overwatering, it's making me insane, or the chemical smell is killing my dog, or whatever it is for them. And then we can, the next group can, we have the gas blower discussion, but like you said, I think there's many issues, and then some of these folks can help us take that to the next meeting or next action, whatever it is, to get people talking about these things. I mean, we're all home, we're outside with our neighbors, we can do more chatting about this. So
Right.
Thank you, Trish. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Trish, if you want to put your email in the chat, maybe just in case someone like straight away, someone like it's driving them insane, they want to privately email you about. Mary, I will pass it off to you to talk about climate justice, especially here in Massachusetts, what we can do. Oh, and there's your
Hey, everybody.
Google Doc.
Yes. That was great. I'm excited about the whole landscaping thing. I feel like there's a whole level of awareness that we're going to step into soon. So this is very exciting to me to see what's going on in the landscaping area. But I'm going to try to pivot now and look at basically what's going on at the state. And excuse my voice, I'm losing my voice. I've been on Zoom.
You're yelling at your children?
No, Zoom all day. It's 7 a.m. So what's going on right now at the state is there's been some coalitions that we're a part of that have been trying to push climate legislation forward, and it dies in the committees. And no one knows why, but there's probably some stuff going on in the background. And so 350mass.org and Better Future Project have decided to put forward 2 citizen climate petitions that will be hopefully presented to town meetings all across the state that call for more transparency in the State House and also 100% renewable energy. So I put in the chat box, because I can't talk, some links, or one big link with my narrative in it. Basically, we're asking everybody on this call, and this is super important tonight because the deadline is tomorrow, to sign on to these climate ballot initiatives. And the reason the deadline is tomorrow is that the state just decided to let us do this because of COVID. They decided that you have to do ballot initiatives by e-signature. So there's 2 of them. One's about transparency, like why are the bills dying in committee? Nobody knows. And then the second one is asking for 100% renewable energy. And so there are bills associated with that one. So that's the first thing that is going on that is really important and timely. So after you get off this call, it takes about not even 5 minutes to click on the link and put your signature down on these citizen petitions. And so that's the first action. And then there are, in the link that I put in the chat box, there are some bills that are priorities that have to do with environmental justice. And Sustainable Wellesley is part of Mass Power Forward, which is a big collaborative of 200 grassroots environmental groups. And their priority has always been about environmental justice. And so there are all kinds of bills going on at the State House. The deadline is coming up end of July for most of them. And so the link I put in the chat box kind of summarizes what bills are still being discussed. And there's also a list of the status of all the bills. You'll see when you look at it that most of them are dying in committee and no one knows why. So that's why this is important. And also, I put down actions to take, which includes signing the petitions, also contacting your legislator. And there's a link to your legislator if you don't know who that is. And then also just write an op-ed. Right now, there's a lot of talk about Black Lives Matter. And probably most of you know that communities of color and low income are impacted more greatly than others by environmental degradation. They always cite the compressor near low income communities. They choose to put the plastic plant in communities of color. There's a lot of history, which I also put in the link, about environmental and racial injustice and how they're linked. So if you don't know about this, I only have a few minutes, so I put it all in my one link. So scroll to the bottom and there's a lot of stuff to read about how they are linked. There is no environmental justice without racial injustice, without racial justice. And they're deeply connected. And so we have come to a pivotal moment in our nation's history where we can do something about both. And so that's why we were doing this little forum today. And hopefully you can take action. Any questions?
Peter, do you have any questions? Or I know Bonnie is a Wellesley High School student who's actually wants to do something around this, comes closer to September, but anybody, if you want to just ask a quick question, we have a few minutes, or share some other information on it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I am part of a group. We're trying to get more energy to get the governor to declare a climate emergency in Massachusetts. And as a step along the road, I feel like it would be an important step if we could get towns around Massachusetts to declare their own climate emergency. What are the chances of being able to do that here in Wellesley?
Well, I think that our Board of Selectmen already has a climate emergency declaration that they were had prepared. Lisa, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, hi, Peter. My name's Lisa Olney. I'm on the Wellesley Board of Selectmen. I actually proposed to the board that we declare a climate emergency, and there was some discomfort with the word emergency. But we did wind up with somewhat of a compromise proposal to town meeting that would call upon all town departments and boards and committees to factor in the climate crisis in all their decision making. And this was actually supposed to come up at our town meeting in March, which was then postponed and made into a virtual town meeting last week. And that article did not make it. In other words, some of the articles were put off until the special town meeting in the fall. They tried to limit the warrant to only those articles that related to the budget and essential services of the town. So it will be heard, it's Article 26, and it will be heard in October at special town meeting. And anything you can do to build support for it among town meeting members would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, thank you for that information. I did know that it had been put into the agenda for the fall meeting, but I wondered if there were any more details about it, and you've explained those. So thank you.
Peter, maybe we can work as we get closer together to try to get more town meeting members to be more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, can I?
You know, you mentioned discomfort with the word emergency, but to be quite honest, it is an emergency.
I couldn't agree more.
So why not include it in the wording?
Yeah, it just, you know, there were other members of the board who weren't comfortable with that word and the potential for unintended legal implications. I don't think there were any, but you know, again, being on a 5-member board, it's all about compromise. And they were very comfortable with the word crisis. And, you know, so in the end, I decided it was best to go ahead with the proposal that we all could agree to. But I couldn't agree more that we have an emergency. And I, you know, I think they're comfortable with discussing the fact that climate emergency is the term that, you know, the United Nations is using. The EU, you know, voted a climate emergency declaration. You know, many organizations, the AMA, lots of conservative organizations, relatively conservative ones, use that term. But, you know, for other reasons, sort of technical municipal government reasons, they weren't comfortable with the word.
Right, right. Well, thank you for pushing it, and we'll see what happens in the fall. In the meantime, it's important to keep it in front of people's eyes, and you know, anyone that wants to come and join us waving flags outside the town hall every Friday from 3 till 4, please feel free to come and help get the word out.
Thank you.
Could I just jump in for a second? So Rayna Mcmanus, Vice Chair of the Natural Resources Commission, and last year we are an elected board and we did declare a climate emergency, and we take into consideration the environment in every decision that we make. So we are hopeful that other boards and perhaps the selectmen will join us. So thank you.
Phyllis, my name's Munir Azam, and I actually come from the renewable, sustainable industry. Today was actually Clean Energy Day on behalf of New England Clean Energy Committee. And they did have a webinar with some of the key senators and representatives on some of the bills that Mary was referring to. And I just thought I might add that sort of in parallel and in concert, one of the themes that the industry is seeing, because with COVID, the clean tech industry in Massachusetts lost about 17,000 jobs. And it's one of the fastest growing industries in the Commonwealth. And one of the themes is, you know, aside from addressing the carbon footprint and climate resiliency, is also economic recovery and tying a lot of the investments and policies to sort of an ARA type recovery measures, both in the state and at the federal level. And so in a lot of ways, this is very much in lockstep with exactly the types of things that Mary is showing in her you know, synopsis of the bills, but also has sort of an additional push from a large, you know, fast growing sector, of which, you know, I come from, and I'm part of the Greentown Labs in Somerville and the like. So it's a very, very active area that has sort of that dual benefit of you know, economic support as well as climate support.
And is there anything we can do to help? I mean, this is an action group. That's what this is all about. So are there any actions we can do? Like if you have petitions we can sign, or if there's, you know, people we need to write to, phone calls, and you don't have, if you don't know it now, you can send it to me and we can share it. I mean, our newsletter goes out to about 3,000 folks here in Wellesley. So I'm happy to use us as a platform to help raise that awareness.
I know, I appreciate that. And absolutely, July 31st is the date that the session is slated to end. Representative Golden and Senator Barrett in Lexington are the two sponsors of the bills described in Mary's
Okay.
synopsis, and absolutely pushing support for those bills. They were very encouraging and wanted everybody possible to be contacting their congressmen and, you know, representative senators
Okay, great.
in support of that. So, and I'll, Phyllis, I'd be happy to pull together some other information after I look over what Mary provided, but I think she caught it all.
Great.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm so glad. Thank you for coming tonight. We have a few more minutes. Does anybody have anything else on this topic before we wrap up?
I would just like to say something about Golden's bill, and I don't know if one of you wants to go offline on this, but they, part of their, the Golden bill has what is it called? Incinerating waste.
Oh, right.
And so actually that particular bill has a few problems in it. They're trying to pull the municipal light plants into the renewable energy portfolio, so that for those of you who don't know, right now our light plant and all the 42 light plants in the state don't have to comply with the Global Warming Solutions Act, unlike National Grid and Eversource, all the big investor-owned utilities. The little municipal light plants don't have to comply, but this new bill will make them do that, which is great. And they don't have, they're not allowed to sell their RECs under this new bill. And there's lots of great things, but there's one little part of that bill, which is that they are allowed to count burning wood matter or incinerating trash as part of the renewable portfolio. And it's, I don't think that we agree that that is renewable. That's just burning trash, and that's really bad for people. And that's against our concept of environmental justice, because those incineration units are always placed in areas of low income. So that's the only little problem with that one, that bill.
Yeah, that's a fair point, Mary. I don't disagree, and I didn't know the details that was in there.
Except for that, which hopefully they'll get that out before July 22nd.
Right. And that might make some sense.
Yeah, thank you.
You want to be careful not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, I guess, but that's
true.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, everyone. It's 8:29. I think what I'd like to do is just, first of all, say thank you all. Usually our action meetings don't happen in the summer, but these seem to be pretty well attended and like just good conversations. So maybe we'll do one, I guess, next month. But if you have anything else that it didn't get to come up and you want us to get a group of folks together to talk about it, feel free to email info@sustainablewellesley, or if you have my email, you can email or any of us, Quentin, Lisa, or not Lisa, Mary, Trish, Scott, any of us. We'd be happy to. I mean, we're all volunteers, and we get things done because a couple of us care, and we all focus up and we share our expertise, our knowledge and skill sets, and make things happen. So let's make something happen. Whatever it is next, it will be next. And thank you all. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you soon. Stay in touch. Good night, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.